My brother, Song Lai, was the most noble and proud crown prince of the White Jiao clan. In my past life, after our fellow clan member Bai Qingqing was struck by heavenly lightning, he couldn't bear to watch a clan member perish, so he recklessly rushed into the lightning storm to save her. Never did we expect that Bai Qingqing would frame him instead, claiming my brother had ruined her innocence. Left with no choice, my brother married her. After being pregnant for only 6 months, Bai Qingqing gave birth to a black Jiao. I witnessed with my own eyes, as she gouged my brother's inner core out alive. Just as I was about to rush forward to fight her to the death, I was stabbed through the heart with an arrow from behind, by my fiancé, the black Jiao, Mo Yuan. You can only blame yourself for stumbling upon a secret you shouldn't have seen. Before I drew my last breath, I watched Mo Yuan swallow my brother's inner core in one gulp, while Bai Qingqing, sitting on the throne that rightfully belonged to my brother, laughed maniacally. If it weren't for my darling Mo Yuan, why would I ever let that useless white Jiao touch me? You siblings both deserve to die. When I opened my eyes again, I had actually returned to the day. Bai Qingqing was struck by the heavenly lightning. Someone has been struck by heavenly lightning. Let's go save them quickly. My brother's anxious shouts rang in my ears, pulling me back from the sharp pain of a sword through my heart. What caught my eyes was the purple heavenly lightning striking the sea, the unconscious Bai Qingqing who had been struck by lightning, and my brother, Song Lai, who was getting ready to save her. I had been reborn. Reborn to the very day my brother went to save her. Seeing my brother, about to dive headfirst into the lightning-filled sky, I grabbed him tightly. Don't save her. My brother, held back by me, was incredibly anxious. What are you doing? Let go of me quickly. If we don't save her, her soul will be scattered. I sneered coldly. Whether she dies or not, what does it have to do with us? My brother was stunned. He knew I was kind by nature, and had never seen me look so cold and indifferent. She is a fellow member of the Sea clan. How can we just watch her die? A fellow member of the Sea clan? I stared intently at that figure in the lightning net. Memories of my past life, like a venomous snake, bit relentlessly at my heart. In our previous life, Bai Qingqing had already conceived Mo Yuan's child in secret. To find a scapegoat to take the blame, she deliberately suppressed her cultivation, and allowed herself to be struck by the heavenly lightning, just waiting for my kind-hearted brother to rescue her, so she could naturally force an inescapable green hat on his head. Since you like to play the victim, return kindness with enmity, and slander your savior. I turned my head, scanning the surroundings. Past the shrimp soldiers and crab generals avoiding the lightning, my eyes finally locked onto a thick-skinned toad demon. Of course, we must save her. But the hero saving the beauty won't be my brother. I waved my hand, transforming my spiritual power into a giant hand, and dragged that toad demon straight out of the smelly mud ditch, and lifted him up. The toad demon kicked his limbs wildly in fear. He hadn't transformed into human form yet, and was covered in dark green venomous warts from head to toe, with foul-smelling drool dripping from his mouth. I pointed at the dying white figure in the center of the lightning net, her breath barely remaining, and said in an enticing voice, "Big mouth toad, do you want a wife?" The toad demon's two bulging, giant eyes looked in the direction I was pointing. When he saw Bai Qingqing's graceful figure, he violently slurped his drool, and his drool dripped, as all the warts on his body turned red with excitement. "Croak! I want a wife. Old Han wants a wife." Seeing him impatiently about to plunge into the lightning net, I grabbed the thick fold of skin on the back of his neck, and dragged him back by force, casting a lightning avoidance spell on him. "What's the rush? Listen carefully. Once you rescue her, hide immediately. Don't come out until you hear me call you. Give your beautiful wife a huge surprise. Got it?" The toad demon's muddy eyes rolled around, and his drool dripped even longer. He nodded frantically like a chicken pecking at rice. "Croak, got it, got it. Old Han will hide and give my wife a big surprise. Then go and be the hero saving the beauty." I kicked the toad demon's slimy buttocks hard, sending him flying straight into the lightning. Are you crazy? How could you let a toad go in? The toad demon is exactly what we need. From now on, you are not allowed to interfere in anything, and no matter what happens later, keep your mouth tightly shut. Otherwise, I will pretend I don't have you as a brother. Deterred by my threat, my brother nodded blankly. A moment later, a figure dragged Bai Qingqing out from the center of the lightning storm, and quickly disappeared back into the flashes of lightning. When the lightning completely dispersed, several sea urchins and clam spirits poked their heads out and gathered around. "Look, Bai Qingqing is waking up." Accompanied by a weak coughing sound, Bai Qingqing woke up from her unconscious state. She pulled her shoulders together pitifully, her delicate clothes tattered and torn. Under the bombardment of the heavenly lightning, her tearful, captivating eyes scanned through the crowd, and finally, locked onto my brother with his outstanding aura. "Crown Prince. Thank you, Your Highness, for risking your life to save me. Had Your Highness not blocked the lightning tribulation for me, I would have already turned to ashes. However, the lightning was so dangerous, and in order to help me suppress the tribulation's power, Your Highness lost control of your desires for a moment, and took my body by force, robbing me of my innocence." She suddenly raised her head, her eyes filled with resolve and deep affection. Though my status is humble, my pure body has now been ruined by your highness's hands. I have no other choice but to offer myself to you, to serve your highness for all eternity. The surrounding water spirits immediately erupted in a frenzy. Good heavens! The White Jiao Prince actually took advantage of saving her, to take the girl's body, though Bai Qingqing is just an ordinary Jiao woman. Reputation and purity for a female of the Sea clan is of utmost importance. Indeed, he has no choice but to marry her now, right? Listening to the whispers around him, my brother was completely dumbfounded. His handsome face was filled with shock and confusion, and he instinctively swayed his white fish tail, taking 2 steps back. Bai Qingqing, what nonsense are you talking about? When did I ever save you? And when did I ever commit such a beastly act? Your Highness, how can you deny what you have done? At that time, your Highness not only held me down tightly, but also tore my clothes apart, destroying my innocence. She bit her lower lip at just the right moment, revealing a flush of shame and indignation. This is utter nonsense. As the dignified crown prince of the White Jiao clan, how could Song Lai ever tolerate such shameless slander? A real man should dare to face the consequences of his actions. A handsome-looking man, swaying a thick, pure black fish tail, parted the water and swam over slowly. He had pure black fins behind his ears, and a mocking smirk played at the corners of his eyes. He was none other than the prince of the Black Jiao clan, my fiancé in both my past and present lives, Mo Yuan. The moment I saw him, the phantom pain of being pierced through the chest flared up again. I clenched my hands tightly, my nails nearly digging into my flesh, barely suppressing the urge to swat him to death with my tail. Mo Yuan swam to Bai Qingqing's side, looking at her with a pained expression, before raising his eyes to look at my brother. Our Sea clan values chastity above all else. You, the dignified crown prince of the White Jiao clan, since you have ruined her innocence, do you intend to abandon her now? As soon as he said those words, he immediately placed my brother on a moral execution pyre. Prince Mo Yuan is right. How can the White Jiao royalty trample upon the innocence of a fellow clan woman so carelessly? My voice, laced with spiritual energy, instantly drowned out all the clamor. Shut up. I stepped forward, shielding my brother, staring at the floor at Bai Qingqing and the hypocritical Mo Yuan, as if looking at 2 clownish buffoons. I am deeply grateful to the crown prince for saving my life. I beg Her Highness the princess to grant us her blessing. Grant your blessing? Bai Qingqing, you repeatedly claim that it was my brother who rushed into the lightning storm to save you and ruined your innocence. Then open your dog eyes and take a good look. The power of heavenly lightning is the most pure and supreme. Anyone who enters the formation will definitely suffer from the strikes. Open your eyes wide and look closely at my brother. On his entire body, is there even a single trace of being burned by lightning or fire? The crowd focused their eyes, and immediately fell silent. Indeed, my brother was spotless from head to toe. His white scales refracted, a flawless luster in the water, perfectly intact. How did he look like someone who had just survived a narrow escape from a heavenly lightning formation? Bai Qingqing's face froze, a flash of panic crossing her eyes, but she stubbornly refused to back down. That's because His Highness has profound cultivation, and protected himself with spiritual energy. So naturally, he wasn't injured. Are you members of the White Jiao clan still trying to deny this? Whether her innocence has been ruined or not, can be revealed instantly by reflecting her with our Sea clan's treasure, the Mirror of Truth. Before the voice could fade, the Mirror of Truth burst forth with a brilliant golden light, shining directly down upon Bai Qingqing. Within the bronze mirror, the pure white halo that originally represented a maiden's chastity, was now incredibly turbid and muddy, interspersed with streaks of dark red. The Sea clan elder's face darkened, as he announced loudly, Bai Qingqing indeed has lost her virginity. She is no longer pure. As soon as this was said, the entire crowd erupted in an uproar. The magic artifact has proven it. The evidence is as solid as a mountain. Bai Qingqing's innocence has indeed been ruined. Who else could it be but Song Lai, who was closest to her just now? Who else could it be? Does your White Jiao clan truly intend to treat the laws of the Sea clan as nothing but dirt? Faced with this so-called ironclad evidence, I did not get angry. Instead, I looked at Mo Yuan's hypocritical face, and then at Bai Qingqing's poorly concealed smugness. A surge of murderous intent originating deep within my bones boiled in my blood. Ironclad evidence? What a joke. With a casual wave of my hand, a white flash of spiritual light instantly shattered the golden beam. This magic artifact can only prove that she is no longer a virgin, but it cannot prove who was the one who touched her. I turned around sharply, staring intently at Mo Yuan. Could it be that some loose woman had long been having a secret affair with someone else, and had already conceived a child in secret? And now, she's merely using this lightning tribulation to dump the blame on my brother and make him the scapegoat. The moment these words were spoken, Bai Qingqing looked as if she had been struck by lightning. Her face turned deathly pale in an instant. She instinctively touched her flat belly, terror flashing in her eyes. Mo Yuan's pupils also contracted in shock, as he barked angrily, Song Yu, as a princess of our clan, how can your words be so vicious and vulgar? with just your words. You try to ruin Bai Qingqing's reputation, Mo Yuan, whether I am speaking without proof. She knows very well in her own heart. Bai Qingqing, since you insists that it was my brother who touched you, then do you dare to make an oath before the entire Sea clan? Ah? What oath? Swear to the Sea God. Swear that no matter who saved you today, and touched you, you will marry them, never abandoning them in life or death. If you violate this oath, may your soul be utterly destroyed, never to be reincarnated. Bai Qingqing trembled all over. She looked up at Mo Yuan, and Mo Yuan gave her an almost imperceptible nod. In their view, besides my brother, no one else had approached the center of the lightning storm at all. This oath would only benefit her without any risk, and would instead completely seal my brother's fate. Thinking of this, Bai Qingqing gritted her teeth, suddenly raised her right hand, and shouted, I, Bai Qingqing, swear to the Sea God, whoever saved me and touched me, in today's heavenly lightning, I will marry them. If I violate this oath, may my soul be utterly destroyed. A sudden clap of thunder resounded from the clear sky. The oath transformed into a covenant mark, and settled between Bai Qingqing's eyebrows. Suppressing my wild laughter, I snatched the mirror of truth from the Black Jiao elder's hand. What are you doing? Since she has made the oath, let's take a look, to see if it was indeed my brother who touched her. The next second, a dazzling beam of golden light rose from my brother's body straight into the sky, illuminating half of the ocean. The Black Jiao elder's eyes almost popped out. He pointed at the beam of light, his voice trembling. The golden light is dazzlingly brilliant, without a single speck of blemish. The Crown Prince's primordial purity is still intact. He has never touched any woman at all. A deathly silence fell over the entire area. The mouths of all the Sea clan members were wide open, large enough to fit a large bowl. Their eyes darted wildly between my golden-clad brother and the deathly pale Bai Qingqing, shifting back and forth. Since the prince of the White Jiao clan is pure, then who on earth was the one who ruined Bai Qingqing's purity? Mo Yuan's face instantly turned ashen. Bai Qingqing collapsed limply to the ground, looking like a pile of mud. This is impossible. Clearly, a pair of hands held me earlier. Want to know who it was? Our great hero who saved the beauty. The heavenly oath is already sealed. Why don't you come out quickly and take your wife home for your wedding night? The moment my voice fell, the muddy water in the distance began to boil violently, accompanied by a nauseating, foul wind. A toad demon covered in green warts, who had at some point put on a bright red wedding robe, leapt out of the mud with a loud bang, and landed heavily on the reef right in front of Bai Qingqing. Croak, wife, old Han has come to take you home. Ah, don't come near me. Don't come near me. You disgusting monster, don't touch me. Staring at this magnified toad face, Bai Qingqing completely broke down. She considered herself an incomparably pure and peerless Jiao woman. How could she ever marry such a low-class demon that lived in a smelly ditch? The one who saved me just now was clearly the Crown Prince. It wasn't you. Ah, get away from me. She suddenly turned and threw herself toward Mo Yuan nearby, tightly grabbing his thick, pure black fish tail. Brother Mo Yuan, save me. I don't want to marry this toad. I have your child in my belly. Mo Yuan was violently shaken. He quickly sealed her voice with spiritual energy, but his face had already darkened to the extreme. The watching water spirits instantly erupted into chaos, their eyes scanning back and forth between the two, with deep suspicion and scrutiny. A victim who claimed to have her innocence ruined by the White Jiao Prince instinctively threw herself onto the Black Jiao Prince's tail, to beg for help while calling him brother. Even a blind person could see the fishy plot behind this. Mo Yuan, however, couldn't care less about that right now. He lowered his gaze, staring fixedly at the approaching toad demon, a chilling intent to kill surging in the depths of his eyes. Bai Qingqing was already pregnant with his child. How could the offspring of the noble Black Jiao royalty allow a lowly toad demon to act as its father? A mere low-class beast. How dare you lay a finger on the person this prince protects? Die. He suddenly opened his right hand, and a sharp blade of black water materialized in his palm, thrusting mercilessly toward the toad demon's vital spot. He was but a low-class spirit. How could he possibly evade a full-force strike from the Black Jiao Prince? He could only stand frozen in place, waiting for death. However, just as the black water blade was merely half an inch from the center of the toad demon's forehead, over the sea that had already cleared up, a thick mass of tribulation clouds gathered without warning. Immediately following, a bolt of purple heavenly lightning carrying the immense pressure of the heavenly Tao sliced through the void and struck straight down. What? Mo Yuan was horrified. He tried to retract his hand, but it was already too late. The oath of the heavenly Tao was witnessed by the sea god. Bai Qingqing had sworn a solemn oath to marry whoever saved her. Now, Mo Yuan trying to execute her betrothed by force was a blatant provocation of the heavenly Tao. The purple heavenly lightning struck Mo Yuan with absolute precision, blasting him dozens of feet away and slamming him heavily into the reef mountain at the bottom of the sea. Mo Yuan spat out fresh blood. His once hard and smooth black scales were now shattered inch by inch, his flesh torn open everywhere, looking exactly like a charred, dead fish. Every water spirit present gasped in horror, staring at the scene in absolute terror. Prince Muyuan. The elders of the Black Jiao clan lost their wits in fear, scrambling and crawling over to support Muyuan, who was left with only a single breath. And this was the perfect, heaven-sent opportunity for me to break our engagement. Muyuan, how dare you? The great sea god had already manifested a miracle. Witnessing this match made in heaven. Not only did you fail to congratulate the newlyweds, you actually dared to attempt a lethal attack in public on the groom personally designated by the great sea god. Are you openly provoking the heavenly Tao and trying to subvert the majesty of the great sea god? This heavy accusation of disrespecting the sea god was like throwing a boulder into a quiet pond, stirring up 1,000 waves. The surrounding sea clan members who were just watching the spectacle instantly changed how they looked at the Black Jiao clan. Heavens! The Black Jiao prince actually dared to provoke the sea god. He definitely aimed to kill with that strike just now. If divine punishment hadn't descended, the toad demon would be dead by now. To even dare destroy a marriage witnessed by the sea god. Does the Black Jiao clan have any respect for the sea god at all? No, that's not true. Our prince was just acting on impulse. Acting on impulse? I sneered coldly, and directly retrieved from my storage bag the black water ring that represented the betrothal and alliance between the White and Black Jiao clans. Before Muyuan's terrified, dilated pupils as he lay heavily injured, I held up that translucent token of engagement, my spiritual power erupting instantly. With a loud crack, the black water ring was crushed into fine powder within my palm, its remnants dispersing with the current into the cold sea water. My White Jiao clan is the most loyal servant of the sea god. We will never form an alliance with people who disrespect the heavenly Tao and have no moral boundaries. Today, I, Song Yu, declare before the entire sea clan of the Four Seas that my engagement with you, Muyuan, is officially annulled. Song Yu, you. The Black Jiao elder was completely flustered. They had planned to use today's opportunity to slander the White Jiao prince, but they not only gained nothing, but also caused their own prince to suffer divine punishment and severe injuries, and even had their marriage alliance with the White Jiao clan cancelled right in front of everyone. Remaining here would only invite the curses and mockery of all the clans. The elder had no choice but to wave his sleeve dejectedly, fleeing in panic with the unconscious Muyuan. Now that her biggest backer had fled, the collapsed Bai Qingqing felt as if she had fallen into an ice cave, her entire body shaking like a leaf. Ribbit, wifey, why were you hugging someone else's tail just now? But it's okay. I, old toad, am generous and forgiving. I'll take you home to our bridal chamber right now. Ah, no. Let me go. Save me, your highness. I know I was wrong, please save me. Ha 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 ha. On the way back to the palace, my brother didn't say a single word. It wasn't until we stepped into the crystal palace of our White Jiao clan and dismissed all the servants that his body finally went limp. As he collapsed onto the coral chair, his handsome face filled with lingering fear. If you hadn't stopped me today. Though pure-hearted, he was by no means stupid. The series of abnormalities that happened today was enough for him to piece together a part of the truth. I stepped forward, poured him a cup of mind-soothing tea, and handed it to him, my gaze as cold and sharp as a knife. Brother, do you still think Bai Qingqing is pitiful? Let me tell you, the miserable state she is in today is entirely of her own making. As for today's heavenly lightning, it was because Bai Qingqing had been intentionally suppressing her cultivation. She had long been having an affair with Muyuan, becoming pregnant in secret. Now, she wanted to use this tribulation lightning to find a high-status scapegoat father for the shameful bastard child in her womb. And you, the pure-hearted prince of the White Jiao clan, possess a pure young inner core. If you had rushed in to save her today, she would have clung to you because of it, marrying into the royal family with her bastard child as a matter of course. She might even have gouged out your inner core alive in the future, just to nourish that bastard's constitution. The jade cup in my brother's hand was crushed to pieces, tea splashing all over the floor. His entire body trembled, recalling how Bai Qingqing, upon waking up, had torn her clothes without hesitation, and clung to him like a leech. And remembering Muyuan's self-righteous face, as he hypocritically forced him to take responsibility, he felt a wave of sickening disgust wash over him. I actually almost became a stepping stone for such butchers. You did the right thing. A shameless and malicious woman like her deserves whatever miserable end she gets. It's good that you understand, brother. However, since the heavenly Tao has blessed this marriage, as the leaders of the Sea clan, we must show some support. Though Bai Qingqing is extremely malicious, she is now Hadazue's official wife. After all, we can't let people think that the White Jiao royalty doesn't care about the lower-class water spirits. What do you mean by this? Do you actually want to attend that toad's wedding banquet? Not only will we attend, but we will also make it a grand, lavish affair. Go. Spread my decree. Say that the White Jiao clan, in gratitude for the sea god's blessing, will specially fund and book the most luxurious blue sea crystal palace of the Sea clan to host for Hadazue and Bai Qingqing, the wedding of the century. Not only will we host it, but we must also send out invitations far and wide. Every prominent family across the 4 seas and 8 wildernesses must attend to share in the joy. 3 days later, The blue sea crystal palace was decorated with lanterns and streamers for the wedding. Luminous pearls illuminated the entire hall as bright as day. This luxurious palace, which normally only the royal family had the right to enter, was now filled with an indescribable sense of absurdity and bizarreness, because the main star of today was a foul-smelling toad demon. Haha, clan leaders, eat and drink your fill. Old Ha, toast to you all. The disgusting mucus on his body, far from being reduced by washing, flowed even more due to his excitement. It dripped onto the smooth, polished crystal tiles, even emitting a pungent, fermented stench. Those usually high and mighty sea clan elders and noble young lords were now covering their noses, their faces turning pale green. They wanted to escape but dared not, because this banquet was hosted by the White Jiao princess herself. Who would dare to disrespect her? They could only brace themselves, take the wine cups covered in toad drool, and swallow with their eyes closed. Meanwhile, at the main table, the atmosphere was oppressive to the extreme. Bai Qingqing was forced into a tacky red bridal gown, with a red veil covering her head. She was not sitting here willingly, but was pinned firmly to the chair by my immobilization spell, though her face could not be seen. From the wet spots constantly soaking through the veil, and the uncontrollable trembling of her body, everyone knew that the bride beneath the veil was currently undergoing a torment far more agonizing than death by 1,000 cuts. Her proud purity and her carefully calculated schemes were all crushed into the mud today, in front of all the clans, forever bound to this foul-smelling toad. Not far from the main table, in the VIP section, sat another guest with an exceptionally grim face. Mo Yuan. He had resolutely refused to come today, but under the high pressure of the rumors I intentionally spread that if the Black Jiao Prince did not attend, it would mean he was dissatisfied with the marriage witnessed by the sea god. To preserve the last shred of their clan's dignity, the Black Jiao elders insisted on carrying him over despite his unhealed, severe injuries. Mo Yuan could only lean weakly against the back of his chair. The heavenly lightning had shattered his foundation. Now, even mobilizing a single shred of spiritual power made his entire body spasm in pain. His eyes were bloodshot. He could only watch as his beloved woman, carrying his own flesh and blood, was publicly humiliated by a toad demon. For someone with such an inflated ego as him, this was simply the most vicious torture in the world. From beneath the veil, the immobilized Bai Qingqing uttered a faint, weak murmur. Brother Yuan. Mo Yuan suddenly clenched the wine cup in his hand, his knuckles turning white. And just as he was madly cursing and roaring in his heart, the White Jiao princess has arrived, dressed in a flowing, shimmering premium Jiao silk gown, and wearing the ocean pearl that symbolized my royal status, surrounded by countless shrimp soldiers and crab generals. I walked into the hall with grand elegance. All the water spirits in the hall immediately rose to bow, and even the hopping Ha Dazue fell flat on the ground in fear, letting out a loud ribbit. I smiled and raised my hand slightly, walking straight to the main table, and personally poured 2 cups of fine nectar. Then, without looking at the groom or bride, I held the wine cups, and took elegant steps, walking step by step to stand before Mo Yuan. Prince Mo Yuan, your face looks quite pale. Could it be that your injuries have worsened? Mo Yuan clenched his teeth tightly, and squeezed out a few words from between them. Thank you for your concern, princess. I won't die. It's good that you won't die. Today is such a joyous day after all. I leaned down, and forced one of the wine cups into his trembling hand, deliberately raising my voice. Your Highness, let us toast to the newlyweds together. Let's wish them a harmonious union for 100 years. And a precious child soon. Do you think when the child is born, it will take after Bai Qingqing's delicate beauty, or Ha Dazue's mighty appearance? Mo Yuan could no longer control himself. The crystal cup in his hand shattered with a loud crack. Meanwhile, Bai Qingqing at the main table, upon hearing the words, precious child soon, shuddered violently, and collapsed completely into her chair. This absurd and disgusting wedding feast lasted until late into the night. The light of the luminous pearls gradually dimmed, and the crystal palace was filled with the overwhelming stench of alcohol. Most of the Sea Clan elites who had come to the banquet were now drunkenly swaying or passed out. The shrimp soldiers and crab generals in and out of the hall also let their guard down, leaning against coral pillars and dozing off. Their defenses had dropped to the lowest point at this moment. Inside the bridal chamber, Ha Dazue, having drunk too much wine, was lying sprawled out on his back on the large bed covered in red silk, letting out earth-shattering snores. Bai Qingqing huddled in the corner, her veil already torn off, revealing her paper-pale, tear-stained face. The immobilization spell I had cast on her happened to wear off right at midnight. As soon as she regained her mobility, she tightly covered her mouth, desperately suppressing the dry heaves in her throat. Ribbit, wifey, come let me kiss your ribs. A strong, fishy stench rushed straight toward Bai Qingqing's face. She couldn't wait any longer. If she waited any longer, she would truly be defiled by this disgusting toad demon. With trembling hands, she quietly slipped a bit of white powder that she had hidden under her fingernails into a cup of cold tea. This was the soul-binding powder she had bought from the black market at a high price. Holding her breath, she walked over with extreme caution and forced the spiked tea into Hadazue's half-open mouth. With a gulp, Hadazue didn't even struggle as his snores instantly became louder, falling into a deep, dead pig-like sleep. Bai Qingqing let out a long sigh of relief and rubbed her hands on her skirt in disgust. Seizing the moment when the guards outside were dozing, she slipped out of the bridal chamber. Under the cover of night and the coral bushes, she ran all the way toward the depths of the giant rockery in the back garden of the Crystal Palace. As she approached the rockery, Bai Qingqing could no longer contain her grievances and fear. She threw herself into the embrace of a tall and straight dark shadow. Qingqing, you've suffered. Brother Yuan, take me away. I can't take this for another second. That toad is so disgusting. I wanted to die when he even touched me. Bai Qingqing clutched Mo Yuan's lapels tightly, weeping like a pear blossom in the rain. A dark, cold gleam flashed in Mo Yuan's eyes, and he gritted his teeth, promising, Qingqing, don't worry. I have already bribed the outer guards. Come with me to hide in the secret grounds of the Black Jiao clan first. Once my lightning strike wounds are healed, we will flee the Sea Kingdom immediately. I will never let our child call that toad its father. Brother Yuan, I only have you now. Just as this adulterous couple was immersed in the illusion of escaping and confessing their love to each other, a crisp snap of fingers suddenly echoed above the rockery. The next second, hundreds of top-grade luminous pearls flashed all at once, lighting up together. They illuminated the secluded back garden of the rockery as bright as day. The sudden bright light made the two of them scream, instinctively covering their eyes. When they fearfully lowered their hands, their souls were almost frightened right out of their bodies. They saw that the rockery was already surrounded by people at some point. Not only was my brother, Song Lang, there, but also the leaders and elders of various sea clans, who were supposedly drunk at the banquet earlier. Every single one of them was perfectly sober, staring with wide eyes at the disheveled and tightly embracing Mo Yuan and Bai Qingqing. And I was sitting comfortably in an armchair carved from white jade, playing with a luminous pearl in my hand. Oh dear, this princess only thought of bringing everyone to tease the bridal chamber. How is it that the bride isn't in the chamber with Hadazue, but instead ran to this remote rockery to tryst with my ex-fiancé? The crowd went into an uproar. How scandalous. She just swore a heavenly Dao oath to marry 3 days ago. Yet today she's out here committing adultery. This is simply disgraceful. No wonder she desperately tried to slander the prince before. It turns out she had a lover all along. This Black Jiao prince is also shameless, stealing someone else's newlywed wife. He has completely disgraced the Black Jiao clan. The color instantly drained entirely from Bai Qingqing's face. She frantically pushed Mo Yuan away, stammering incoherently in defense, No, I'm not. Listen to my explanation. I was just coming out for some fresh air. Brother Yuan just happened to be passing by. Happened to pass by right into someone else's wife's arms? Is your mouth on someone else's body, just for taking air? Not only are you shameless, but you also treat the entire sea clan as fools. Today, this princess shall act on behalf of the sea god and purge this filthy couple. Song Yu, you go too far. With his dignity completely stripped away, Mo Yuan finally flew into a rage. His handsome face was now twisted like a malevolent ghost. He knew that if they were captured today, what awaited them would be the judgment of all clans. He would be completely ruined, and even stripped of his title as prince. Driven into a corner, a vicious intent surged within Mo Yuan. Taking advantage of everyone's lack of readiness, he gathered the last of his spiritual power to form a long sword, thrusting it like lightning straight toward my chest. Yuer, watch out, fool. Just as that sharp sword of spiritual energy was about to strike me, the Jiao silk gown on my body suddenly erupted with a brilliant moonlight glow. This was no ordinary garment. Ancient defensive arrays were engraved upon it. Not only was it impervious to blades and spears, but it could also deflect any attack. Below the wearer's cultivation realm, the violent spiritual power slammed heavily into the defensive glow of the Jiao silk gown, but instantly veered off its original trajectory, skimming past Mo Yuan's shoulder and blasting straight into Bai Qingqing, who was standing behind him and unable to dodge. Bai Qingqing let out a shrill scream, flying backward like a broken kite. As she was violently thrown away, Bai Qingqing clutched her lower abdomen tightly, blood continuously seeping out. It hurt so much. Brother Yuan. My stomach. Mo Yuan froze completely. He looked at his own hands in disbelief, then at Bai Qingqing collapsed on the ground, his mind going entirely blank. He had originally intended to launch a sneak attack to break out. How could he have personally severely injured his own most beloved woman? Quick, call the physician. Before long, carrying his medicine chest, the old seahorse physician, Yi Xiu, rushed over out of breath, escorted by the shrimp soldiers. What are you standing there for? Go over and examine Bai Qingqing's pulse carefully. She is so severely injured. You must inspect her thoroughly. Do not miss any hidden secrets. The old seahorse knelt trembling on the ground, extending 2 fingers to place them on Bai Qingqing's pulse. However, with just that touch, the old seahorse's panicked expression instantly froze. His body shuddered violently, his cloudy old eyes widening in disbelief, and he couldn't help but rub his eyes with his other hand. To re-verify. The old seahorse's hand snapped back. As if he had touched an electric current, he looked up at me. And then at the various clan leaders, who were staring intently at the scene. Why are you silent? How exactly is Miss Bai? In front of all the clan leaders. You may speak the absolute truth. This princess guarantees your absolute safety. Reporting to your highnesses. And esteemed leaders. Miss Bai has suffered a severe blow from spiritual energy. But fortunately, her vital organs are safe. The true cause of her abdominal pain and heavy bleeding is that she has disturbed her fetal chi. Miss Bai is already 4 months pregnant. This brief sentence was like an incredibly powerful depth charge, exploding violently in the dead silence of the crowd. 4 months? You old thing, are you sure you're not mistaken? 3 days ago, she was still loudly proclaiming her pure and pristine innocence, claiming she was defiled by Tsang Lang. How could she possibly be 4 months pregnant? I have practiced medicine for 500 years, and I would absolutely not misdiagnose. It is indeed a full 4 months of pregnancy. Beyond any doubt. In an instant, everyone's gaze shifted from shock to extreme contempt, stabbing collectively toward Bai Qingqing, whose face was already pale as death. Within this suffocating atmosphere, a deafening croak resounded from the archway of the back garden. The previously drugged Ha Dazue had woken up at some unknown point. Who the hell dares to cuckold me, old Ha? He held a coral club he had picked up from somewhere, rushing into the crowd with eyes spitting fire. I thought I was marrying a pure and innocent fairy, but it turns out she's just a used shoe. You even dared to drug me and ruin someone else's bastard child. Seeing the disheveled couple clinging to each other, and hearing Physician Yi Shou's words, Ha Dazue only felt as if a vast green pasture had grown on top of his head. For low-class spirits, dignity was already a scarce commodity. Now, having been made a cuckold in front of the entire Sea clan, how could he possibly endure it? Without a second word, Ha Dazue swung his coral club and charged, striking Mo Yuan heavily right between his legs, accompanied by a high-pitched, distorted scream. Mo Yuan's already heavily injured body suddenly curled up like a boiled shrimp. He clutched his crotch tightly, rolling on the ground and twitching in agony. Ha Dazue's furious and merciless blow had completely and utterly destroyed his manhood. Brother Yuan? You still have the face to call him Brother Yuan. You little bitch. Ha Dazue was fuming with rage. Turning his head, he spat a mouthful of foul-smelling toad saliva right onto Bai Qingqing's face with a splat. Ah, so disgusting. Ha Dazue ripped the big red flower off his chest and hurled it violently in her face. Let all the clan leaders bear witness. Although I, old Ha, am ugly, I will never accept such unchaste trash. From this moment on, I divorce you. Get lost and bear bastards for this pretty boy. Bai Qingqing collapsed on the ground in disbelief. Never in her wildest dreams did she expect that she would one day be publicly divorced by a toad demon. Watching this highly dramatic farce, I adjusted my sleeves and stood up calmly from my armchair. Now, it's my turn. I elegantly swayed my fishtail, walking to the center of the area, my sharp gaze looking down on this miserable, pathetic couple. Everyone, now that things have reached this point, is it not clear enough? The bastard in Bai Qingqing's womb. Who else could it belong to but our Black Jiao prince, who ran out late at night for a tryst despite his severe injuries? Who else could it be? I pointed out their adultery with sharp precision, blocking any room for further denial. 3 days ago, Bai Qingqing swore a heavenly Dao oath, claiming she would marry no one but her savior. But once Ha Dazue appeared, Mo Yuan acted like a madman. Even at the risk of facing the backlash of the heavenly lightning, he insisted on executing that toad in public. Why was he in such a hurry? Wasn't it because the toad demon was an eyesore and about to ruin his grand plans? You two had long been colluding in secret and conceived a bastard, because you were afraid of this scandal being exposed, afraid of it affecting his engagement with me, and even more afraid that this shameful, illegitimate child would affect Mo Yuan's eligibility to compete for the throne of Sea Emperor. So, you planned that trap 3 days ago, attempting to blackmail my pure-hearted brother. Not only did you want the White Jiao Prince to unknowingly raise your bastard and act as its father, but you also wanted to use this opportunity to smoothly infiltrate our White Jiao royal family and usurp our position from within. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone in the hall was shocked. How venomous. The Black Jiao clan has truly monstrous ambitions. We were almost completely fooled by them. A loose woman like this actually dared to lust after the White Jiao Prince? She must be dreaming. She is utterly shameless to the extreme, playing all of us Sea clan members for fools. An overwhelming wave of curses and insults drowned Bai Qingqing like a tsunami. No, it's not like that. I was forced. Brother Yuan, save me. I am carrying your child. You can't abandon me. Take me with you. Mo Yuan, looking at the hostile and contemptuous faces all around him, felt a sudden surge of blood in his chest. Enduring the agonizing pain of losing his lineage, he raised his trembling hands to hold the blood-covered Bai Qingqing. Yi Xiu, quickly check on the child. Your Highness, Miss Bai has lost too much blood, and she has suffered a shock to her spiritual energy. The fetus in her womb is in complete turmoil. Even if it can be safely delivered, It will only be a useless, lifeless fish. What did you say? He had just had his manhood destroyed, meaning he could never propagate his lineage again in this lifetime. The child in Bai Qingqing's womb was now his only remaining flesh and blood left in this world. No. My child. Save him. You must save him. With no other choice, the old seahorse could only hesitantly offer a desperate prescription. To forcibly preserve this fetus, there is only one way. We must use the purest item of ultimate yang as a medicinal catalyst to stabilize the fetal source. An item of ultimate yang. Looking across the entire world, where could one find an ultimate yang item purer than the inner elixir of the White Jiao Prince? I caught the flash of madness deep in Mo Yuan's eyes, and couldn't help but sneer in my heart. Very well. In my past life, this was how you brutally murdered my brother, gouging out his inner elixir while he was still alive. In this life, I will watch with my own eyes how you walk straight into this bottomless abyss of eternal damnation. The night is as dark as ink. Cold ocean currents surged beneath the surface outside the Crystal Palace. Due to the unstable pregnancy, Bai Qingqing and Mo Yuan were temporarily placed under house arrest in a side hall of the Crystal Palace. On the surface, it was to let them recover from their injuries, but in truth, it was to wait for tomorrow morning, when the Sea Clan elders would hand down the final judgment on the Black Jiao clan. Inside the main hall, I sat upon the throne, playing with a memory orb in my hand. Is what you said really true? My brother stood beside me, his brow furrowed, a look of disbelief in his eyes. Will Mo Yuan really dare to infiltrate the White Jiao Palace tonight? To gouge out my inner elixir? Even after witnessing Mo Yuan's despicableness with his own eyes, he still underestimated the absolute depths of malice. A cornered beast will do anything to escape when desperate. For the current Mo Yuan, it is a dead end either way. Only by seizing your inner elixir and healing his foundation will he have the capital to turn the tables. If he is indeed so crazed, why did you intentionally spread the news that I am in seclusion recuperating and left entirely unguarded? Of course, it was to beat him at his own game and lure him into the trap. A cold glint flashed in my eyes. In my past life, after they poisoned my brother and gouged out his inner elixir, they silenced me, who had witnessed it all. In this life, I want him under the watchful eyes of all the Sea Clan leaders, to seal his guilt for murder, theft, and treasonous assassination. At midnight, the entire Crystal Palace fell into a deathly silence. A dark shadow, blending perfectly into the dark sea, bypassed the outer perimeter, avoiding the seemingly tight patrol that I had actually drawn away on purpose. He slipped silently up to the White Jiao Prince's bedchamber. Outside, it was indeed Mo Yuan, still recovering from his severe injuries. His eyes were bloodshot, gripping a poison-tipped dagger in his hand. As long as he pierced the White Jiao Prince's heart in a single strike, that pure young inner elixir would be his. The door of the bedchamber was pushed open silently using a secret technique. Mo Yuan glided into the hall like a venomous serpent, staring intently at the large bed hidden behind layers of heavy curtains. Kanglin, if you must blame someone, blame your White Jiao clan for pushing things too far. Suddenly, he sensed danger. An intense sensation of mortal danger made him, without a second thought, turn around to flee out of the hall. You want to leave now? Too late. The entire floor of the bedchamber suddenly lit up with complex, ancient white runes. A net, woven from the purest spiritual energy, instantly closed in from all directions. Like an indestructible cage, it trapped Mo Yuan firmly in the dead center. This was the heavenly tribulation trapping formation I had set up long ago. Release me. Let me go. Mo Yuan struggled frantically within the formation, but the thunderous power released by the formation shocked him, making him scream repeatedly. His already heavily injured body was instantly lacerated. Immediately after, 36 top-grade memory orbs around the bedchamber rose into the air simultaneously, bursting with brilliant light. The entire hall was illuminated as bright as day, not only lighting up Mo Yuan's twisted, terrified face, but also the poison-tipped dagger in his hand, and his stabbing motion just now, with 0 blind spots, in a full 360 degrees, recording everything crystal clear. The doors of the bedchamber were violently kicked open from the outside by a turbulent force. The leaders of the major sea clans, who had been lying in wait in the side hall for a long time, along with the clan elders, led by my brother Kanglin, poured in like a tidal wave. When they saw Mo Yuan trapped in the formation with their own eyes, holding a poison blade, everyone gasped in shock at this ultimate display of shamelessness. Mo Yuan, you beast. The White Jiao royal family was merciful to you, allowing you to recover from your injuries here. Yet you dared to sneak into the prince's bedchamber in the dead of night to assassinate him. Is the Black Jiao clan truly planning to rebel? Killing someone to steal their elixir? Such demonic cultivator methods are completely intolerable by heaven. Looking at the furious faces surrounding him, Mo Yuan's psychological defenses completely crumbled. No. It's not like that. I didn't do it. They forced me. It was Sang Yue who framed me. The thing on the bed is clearly a seaweed puppet. This is a trap she set up. I set a trap to frame you? Did I force you to sneak into the prince's bedchamber with a poisoned dagger? Did I force you to ruthlessly strike at the person on the bed? If I hadn't been prepared beforehand, The one lying there dead right now would be my brother's corpse. I turned to face all the enraged leaders, pointing to the brilliantly shining memory orbs in midair. All the leaders have seen with their own eyes that Mo Yuan sneaked into the East Palace late at night, holding a poisoned dagger, with the intent to assassinate the White Jiao Prince. The evidence is as solid as a mountain. If we do not eliminate this cancer, our sea realm will never have peace. Punish the Black Jiao royal family. They must be severely punished. The leaders of the myriad clans raged with thunderous fury. They could no longer tolerate the existence of the Black Jiao clan. In the face of absolute evidence and surging public outrage, the Black Jiao clan was completely pushed to a dead end by my hand, utilizing the power of the myriad clans. Mo Yuan heard the overwhelming waves of condemnation around him, and watched his own crimes playing on a loop in the memory orbs. His last shred of hope was completely shattered. He opened his mouth, wanting to defend himself, but only coughed up a huge mouthful of black blood, and fell straight into a dead faint inside the formation. 3 days later, at the Poseidon Square, almost all the citizens of the aquatic clans from the entire world had gathered. Hundreds of thousands of eyes stared intently at the center of the square, where the high judgment platform towered. The once arrogant Black Jiao royal family, due to their scandals and treasonous acts, were stripped of their royal branch status, and had their royal registry revoked. All their clan members were expelled from the fertile core waters, and demoted to the lowest class of servant sea clans. As for the instigators of this conspiracy, Mo Yuan and Bai Qingqing, they were bound tightly to the iron pillars of the judgment platform. The criminal Mo Yuan, driven by personal greed, attempted to assassinate the White Jiao Prince, plotting to incite war within the sea realm. His crime is unpardonable. According to the laws of the sea realm, his cultivation is hereby stripped on the spot, and his spine shall be broken. With a thunderous shout from the law-enforcing elder, 2 hulking law enforcement executioners, holding dark iron warhammers weighing tens of thousands of pounds, strode onto the high platform, accompanying 2 ghostly, agonizing screams. The heavy dark iron hammers fell mercilessly. Mo Yuan did not even have time to cry out for mercy. In an instant, his hundreds of years of cultivation exploded, and vanished into nothingness. The spine of his proud fish tail was shattered piece by piece. He collapsed in a pool of blood like a pile of mud, completely reduced to a crippled mess, who could not even crawl. On the other side, Bai Qingqing's fate was equally miserable. Her hypocritical, pure mask had been completely torn away. While being escorted onto the platform, countless aquatic citizens pelted her with filth. The complete destruction of her reputation caused her to plummet from the clouds into the mud. She used to enjoy being chased and sought after by everyone, reveling in the feeling of being looked up to. But now, she could only suffer a mental breakdown amid endless curses, crying and laughing like a lunatic with disheveled hair. Based on the heinous crimes of the 2 criminals, the Elders Guild delivered its final verdict. I stepped forward, took the imperial decree from the law-enforcing elder, and coldly announced their final end. Banish the criminals Mo Yuan and Bai Qingqing into the abyssal sea, never to be reincarnated for eternity. The crowd erupted in earth-shattering cheers. In the blinding light of a teleportation array, the 2 were thrown into the bottomless, dark abyss, like discarded pieces of garbage. Time flew by, and the torture beneath the abyssal sea had only just begun. The harsh environment, and bone-chilling cold, completely destroyed Bai Qingqing's body. A few months later, she painfully gave birth to an offspring. It was not the exceptionally gifted royal bloodline she had dreamed of, but a small black fish devoid of intelligence, unable to ever take human form in its lifetime. Her expectations of her bloodline were completely shattered. In this pitch-black, sunless environment, to fight over a single scrap of leftovers from abyssal beasts, the deeply in-love couple who had once sworn eternal vows completely tore off their masks of affection. It's all because of you, you bitch, that I lost everything. This resentful couple fought each other on the cold seabed day after day, cursing and tearing at one another. Meanwhile, in the sun-drenched, magnificent White Jiao Crystal Palace, it was an entirely different scene. After this crisis that almost overthrew the royal family, my brother completely recognized the weakness and indecisiveness in his character. He understood the truth that a soft heart cannot lead an army. His soft-heartedness had almost brought disaster and ruin to the entire family. Above the main hall, my brother willingly presented with both hands the seal, which represented the power of the air, solemnly handing it to me. Brother, what are you doing? My brother's eyes were clear, as he looked at me with a smile, his tone filled with relief and determination. You err. This storm has completely woken me up. I am gentle by nature. If I inherit the throne, the White Jiao clan will eventually be devoured by the wolves hiding in the dark undercurrents. But you are different. You are swift and resolute, with both the means and the courage. It was you who turned the tide in this desperate situation, and saved the entire family. You are far more suited for that throne than I am. From this day forth, you are the rightful crown princess of our White Jiao clan. I will step back and dedicate myself to cultivation, assisting you, witnessing you lead the White Jiao clan to its peak. The moment I gripped that seal, a magnificent, sacred, and warm golden light suddenly erupted from the statue of the Poseidon, in the center of the hall. The golden divine light penetrated the deep sea, enveloping me perfectly. A vast pressure of magical power, spread out in all directions. The elders and guards inside the palace, the moment they felt this aura, all fell to their knees involuntarily. This was the recognition of the supreme deity. This was the blessing of the Poseidon, ordained by heaven, bathed in the divine light. My eyes grew resolute. Step by step, I walked up to the crystal throne. That symbolized supreme power. I turned around, the hem of my golden robe, spreading across the steps like ocean waves. Amid the solemn horn sounds of the myriad clans paying homage, I put on the brilliant white Jiao imperial crown, looking down upon the kneeling myriad clans of the four seas. My great vengeance is avenged. And I am crowned as king. This is the ending that I, Song Yue, deserve.